Hi, I'm Brian Marc Zimberg, author of Stop, Smile, Breathe, Be, and creator of Access Points, the Modern Life Meditation Plan, where we show you how to shift your attention out of your mind and connect to the most profound inner peace of meditation. And from there, awakening even deeper into your true oneself, living a life of greater joy, happiness, and true self-expression, where we become a contribution into the world. So welcome. I always say I'm so glad for you to be here because the truth is I'm here for the same reason that you're here. And in today's episode, I want to take a look at a problem that we all have to deal with. And that's problems. Let's take a look at problems together. What would it be for you to finally be free of all problems? Now, I'm not talking ridiculous here, and I'm not saying we have to get that all problems will just magically disappear. What I'm saying is that it is possible for you to be free of problems. Now in Access Points, we take a look at the operating system of the mind. We take a look at the mind like it's a computer on your head, and we say one of the main functions of this operating system is to create a problem and to solve a problem. In fact, what I'm saying to you is that your mind is always doing one or the other. It is always creating a problem or solving a problem. So no matter how big or how small the problem is in your life, your mind will either be fixated on creating one or solving one and then creating another one, all to maintain its identity of being somebody and something separate. We also talk about access points, that your identity, your attention stuck in your mind, being identified with your thoughts, your body, and your mind is what creates all suffering in life. Now, the truth of the matter is when it comes to problems, we spend so much time worrying and fearful about the problem itself. We're stuck in a problem. We have an issue going on in our lives, right? Perhaps we don't have money to pay our bills, or we're having issues with our loved one or our partner, or our children are having issues at school, or I'm having a problem at my job. All different things that we can relate to, right? Problems, small ones, big ones, come up all the time. We have massive world problems that deep within us we'd all like to deal with. And you know, sometimes somebody will say to you, well, you think you have problems. You know, watch this video on this poor person who lost their leg and they learned to walk. And you know, we're blown away by that. And maybe for a moment, we reconnect to how grateful and lucky we are. But it doesn't really change anything because we're in our heads. We're the center piece of our movie and our problems are real to us. So the truth about it is, the truth of the matter is, when you take a look at a problem is either going to be solved eventually, or it's going to be, you know, a non-problem. It's just going to dissipate and go away, and all the worrying and all the stress and all the, you know, chasing around and worrying and trying to figure things out and fixing and all that stress, anxiety in the background of our mind about a problem ends up being a non-issue. We spend so much time in the drama of our problem, that we have a problem. What are we going to do about our problem? Discussing it with other people. Stress, emotions, fear, worry, anxiety. Because our circumstances, we are choosing to relate to them as problem. All this drama, at the end, if the problem just goes away, we just wasted a lot of energy, time, emotion, and stress on something that wasn't even real because it went away. Or even eventually, if we accept the fact that a solution will show itself, good or bad, you know, if you are getting evicted from your home, it sucks and you can do everything you need to do, but eventually when the eviction is happening, in that moment, you're being evicted, and then what comes next will come next. No matter what comes next will come next. So really what it comes down to is our relationship to the circumstances, our thoughts, our emotions, the people in it, what they're saying, what is happening. These are all circumstances of our lives, and it's our reaction to these circumstances that creates our suffering and our struggle. When we're believing our thoughts and a separate individual to be who we are, and that we have to get somewhere, do something, defend and survive, that is the root of all suffering. When you add to that, the mind is creating a problem, trying to solve it, it's holding us in the identity of our mind with this problem-solution scenario. And then our relationship to our circumstances is only based on that problem and solution. So we're stuck in this minimal perspective paradigm. Problem, solution, what am I going to do about this problem? I need to find a solution. So you choose your relationship to circumstance. When we're reacting to the circumstances, to other people, to what's happening, to our thoughts and our emotions in life, and we're just a reactive animal, not choice being happening from you making a conscious, true, clear choice, but instead our past and our programming and our thoughts and our emotions all creating a reaction within us. So we're reacting to our circumstances in the paradigm of problem solution, and we're struggling, we're suffering. So wouldn't it be nice to finally be free of being stuck in problems and solutions? So how do we do it? Let's take a look. Okay, so first of all, your true nature, your true oneself is timeless. That which is one with everything. Oneness, the meditative moment, truth, awakening. When you connect to your true oneself, the beauty of divine perfection is available. Openness, availability, clarity, always at peace. When from that space, you're timeless. And in timelessness, there is no problem, because a problem obviously only exists in time, right? So from your true oneself, we have a timeless experience, a space of no problem being whatsoever. So quantum physics says, and I'm paraphrasing basically, but reality does not exist if you're not looking at it. If there's not an observer of reality, then the floor down below that you're looking at right now wouldn't even be there, right? The observer affects the reality. So that being said, think about that. With your attention focusing on your problem, you're actually substantiating the reality of your problem, right? We're making our problem even more by making our attention in our mind, which is always creating a problem and solving it, reacting to the circumstances of our lives, and all of this is substantiating the problem to be a reality. You can see where we get pretty stuck. So let's unstick. Let's get unstuck. Let's find a way that you can actually shift your attention out of your mind, connect to this true oneself, this peace, this timelessness that is free of problem, and find a new way and a new relationship to problems in your lives. Now again, I want to be clear. I'm not saying that you won't have any problems. And I'm not saying that life doesn't have problems. I'm saying that it is our relationship to the circumstances of our lives that will determine our experience of our lives. That when we are stuck in a problem-solution mentality and relating only as a separate individual, not only are we suffering and struggling, but life is full of anxiety and problems. To be free of that, we're going to learn to come out of our mind and move to the timelessness. So there's a great quote by Albert Einstein, which goes along the lines of, a problem cannot be solved from the level of consciousness in which it was created. So if a problem cannot be solved from the level of the consciousness in which it was created, we need to shift to a different level of consciousness. We need to move to a different perspective to relate to this from a whole different way. Have you ever played the game Boggle? Boggle? If you don't know what it is, there's a bunch of little cubes with different letters on it. You put them in a square thing, you shake it up, and all the little cube letters fall down, and you lift it up, and you have a little timer, and you find words inside of it. And someone's looking from this side, I'm looking from this side. And what's amazing, you're playing this game, and you get all these words, and then you're stuck. You just can't see any more words. But if you all of a sudden pretend to take on the perspective from this side where the other person's playing, a bunch of new words start to open up to you. The same thing, right? Einstein's saying we need to find a new level of consciousness in order to deal with the problem, because it cannot be solved from the same level of consciousness it was created at. Now, what is the greatest perspective you could shift to? The greatest perspective of consciousness to shift to would be one consciousness. The level of your true oneself, that when you are one with everything, the timelessness, the space of no problem. When we shift to that, we are free of all problem. That's the greatest shift we can take. And the way we do that is by, in Access Points, we teach you how to access. We teach these 1 to 3 minute meditations that shift your attention out of your mind and give you that hit of meditation. And in that moment, you gain connection to clarity, to oneness, to peace. It's like you're taking a retreat from all the thoughts, the anxiety, the battle with a problem, looking for a solution, all of that anxiety. You just step out of it for a moment. You release from it. Let it go for a moment. And in that moment, you connect to who you really are, your true oneself. Your true oneself has no problem with the thought idea of what your body mind is saying is a problem in your life. You know what I'm saying? It's like the sun has no problem with your problems. Your true oneself has no problem with your story and the problems in it. When we step back to our true oneself, we're free of problems. Totally free of problems. And the more we're able to shift our attention out of our mind and experience the meditative peace that's available in this moment, the more we can come into life with that freshness and that clarity. So when we come back into life, in a way you could say, come back into life, we're already in life, but when we have this, our thoughts in our mind are going, and we can remember and shift to our true oneself, and from there, we can recognize the movement of problem, solution, reactivity, and circumstances. We can go, hold on a minute. I choose to not buy into all this. I choose to shift out of my mind. Don't believe your mind, we teach. For a moment, you shift out, you don't believe your mind, and then you now have a real choice on how you choose to relate to your circumstances. I can tell you, if you take anything from this video, forgetting the idea of problem, how you choose to relate to your circumstances, choose being the key word here. You see, you have a choice on how you relate to your circumstances. And so often with the thoughts bombarding you and the emotions going and people going and circumstances going and life going, we think we're just caught up into it and reacting to it because we believe we are me and we have to do life. Well, now we're learning to reverse that here, right? We're learning to live an awake life from our true oneself. When we shift to our true oneself, where there's no time, there's no problem, we now step into the movement of our life, the dance of our lives, and we have a new choice with the circumstances. Knowing that this problem will have a solution at some point or dissipate. We don't have to buy into all of it, hook, line, and sinker. Hook, line, and sinker, and be so in it and so caught in it, it's just like, ugh. We come back, we shift, and we revitalize ourselves, and great clarity comes to us. And we have a choice in how we relate to our circumstances. We choose to go, oh my God, or to go, oh, that's a reaction. Let me take a breath and let's see where this comes next. We shift to a different level of consciousness in order to deal with this problem. And instead of trying to force a solution, clarity arises. Spaciousness arises when we shift to our true oneself. So you'll see some links below where we give some free trainings on different access points so you can implement them when you see yourself caught in this problem-solution paradigm. So when you see yourself suffering with this problem-solution paradigm, when you see yourself caught up in your circumstances and your reactivity to others and your thoughts and your emotions and the issues of your life, you learn to finally shift out of your mind, gain a sense of total clarity, connect to your true oneself, which is vibrant, whole, and at peace with yourself. Imagine the clarity that comes from that. They always say, you ever try to think of something and you can't remember it, you're trying, the harder you try, the worse it gets? I don't know if you've heard, but they say, let go of it, forget about it, and then it usually pops right back up. Most problems have a solution already attached to them. That's just the nature of duality. And most problems will be solved or not solved, like we talk about, but they'll solve themselves in their own right. In other words, our engagement doesn't have to be so fixated, and the clarity of all that will come from the shift out of our minds, the shift to the meditative moment that is now. So you can utilize an access point at this moment. You can go take a walk, take a breathe, take a breath. You can breathe, take a breath. You could sit and meditate. You can put in some headphones. But if you don't have time for all that, in access points, we show you in 1 to 3 minutes how to shift your attention out of your mind. You can do a yoga pose. You can learn a mindfulness technique. Whatever it is, it's time for you to start recognizing that you are not your thoughts, you are not your emotions, and you are not the circumstances of your life. You are your true oneself. And the more and more you learn to shift your attention out of your mind to that, the more you're able and available from a space of love and clarity to come into your life. Life does not have to be a struggle. Problems don't have to dominate you. You can come to them in a fresh new way. Again, I'm going to say this because the mind wants to say this to you, and it will say it to you later. Well, I have problems. I'm not saying that life doesn't have ups and downs. It would be very intelligent for you to assume that since life has had ups and downs, no matter how awake you become, life will probably still have ups and downs, right? There are, in the circumstances of our lives, in the circumstances of our world, huge, enormous problems. Clarity has to be the best way for all of us to deal with all of life's problems. Not from an anxious, scared, and fearful ego, mind mechanism. Come back to the wholeness of your own heart. And at any moment, you'll start finding a fluidity in life that allows problems and solutions to rise and fall, but the center, the core of who you are, you will recognize is always ever present and here, always available. That which holds you in total love, in total embrace, it sees you perfect, without problem. So just to review, number one, if you take this alone, it'll be worthwhile. For you, for me, and for all of us, to tell you the truth. The mind is always creating a problem or solving a problem. Always. Major operating system, function of the feature of the computer on your mind. Create problem, must solve problem. Creating a problem, solving a problem. Creating a problem, solving a problem. Take a look at that alone. Make a little note, write that down. Take a look for the next 2 days. I've said this in a different video, another episode, but for 2 days, just watch if it's true. Is my mind always creating a problem or always solving a problem? And you'll find, to your astonishment probably, because you didn't have the perspective to realize that this is going on, that holy smoking blah, blah, blah. It is always creating a problem or solving a problem. Just in the noticing that the problem solution is always happening in the program of our mind, we start to become aware of it. As we become aware of it, we actually stop engaging so deeply in it. You see, we start observing it from a witness perspective, from the meditative perspective, and we don't grip in so tightly. Our fixation loosens and we find more peace. In general, we want to notice the problem solution is going on. In dealing with a problem, we have to identify there's a problem going on. Now, what I mean by that is, if you're just caught up in your problem and there's anxiety and there's fear and there's worry and you're telling people about it and you're in your drama, yet you don't take a moment to go, hold on a minute. There's this problem paradigm thing going on here, right? I gotta catch myself for a moment and go, I'm really in all this drama. I'm really in all this solution problem paradigm. I'm reacting, hold on. There's a problem going on. You take a look at that first. 2, we recognize that we have a choice in our relationship to the circumstances of our lives. Now, you could choose to say, well, I have a problem, that's an opportunity. Like, you could reframe it in a positive light. But what we're showing you here to do is to actually shift, right? Using the Einstein quote as kind of like a nudge here, to look from a different level of consciousness at our problem, to shift to the highest level of consciousness, which is your true oneself. When we learn to shift out of our mind, we connect to our true oneself, and from that space, we are aware of the timeless self that we are, that has no problems, that is open, vast, and clear. And from that, we move into our lives with a greater clarity and fluidity and a choice of how we treat our circumstances. We choose to allow it to come up and down. We choose to remain in an equanimity of our truth, our center, our peace. We actually are more centered in life then, more balanced in life then. We're not thrown by other people, by circumstances, by thought, by problems. Okay? So go out. Let all problems, hocus pocus, be gone. Listen, what I want for you really is to have a new relationship to everything in your life, to really be centered and grounded in your true oneself. It is possible for you to shift out of your mind and to more and more be able to live an awake life. So until next time, here's to living an awake life from your true oneself and into the greatest expression of you. Hey everyone, it's Brian Marc. Did you like this episode? Be sure to subscribe to the next one and tell a friend about us. If you want free seminars and world-class training on modern meditation and spiritual development, visit me at brianmarc.com and enter your name and email for our newsletter list. Until next time, here's to living an awake life from your true oneself and into the greatest expression of you.